want to say. I'm not going to say that I changed, me personally, Trysta Krick, changed the future of the Sacramento Kings franchise by leaking very pertinent news about one of their coaching candidates, Mark Jackson. But Mark Jackson was the favorite to land the Kings head coaching job until I dropped this intel on D'Lo and KC's show on ESPN 1230. What was this piece of news that could have eliminated him from consideration altogether and pushed the Sacramento Kings towards Mike Brown instead? Was it a hot take on a political issue that I overheard him say? Maybe a slur of some sort? No, of course not. Mark Jackson, who I love, I spilled the beans that Mark Jackson has only done 17 push-ups his entire life. Yep, I did. Let's just go back to that clip really fast. Did I tell you guys one of the very first things I did post sideline reporting was I got Mark Jackson to do push-ups with me at the Drew League?
You have not told us this story.
I'm like freelancing at USA Today, and I'm just trying to like create some interesting off-the-cuff sort of social-friendly content. And they had that 22 push-up challenge that they were doing for, I want to say, like suicide prevention awareness. So I went to the Drew League because I was living in LA, which I don't know, for those who don't know the Drew League that might be listening, it's like probably one of the most poppin' amateur/pro basketball leagues in the country, right? It's been going on in South Central for 25 plus years.
Trysta was in the trenches.
Tons of star power there, like the front line. I mean, Kobe's played in it before. KD came through, popped up. So there's like a lot of current NBA players that'll play in it, and like guys who are trying to come back up, right? So on the sidelines was Mark. And so I asked him if he would do the 22 push-up challenge with me. And I had a little camera set up in the back near the locker room, and they gave me like full access, the guy who started it. And he was like, I've never done a push-up in my entire life.
That's crazy.
And he's like, this will be my very first push-up. When I was even in college, I said no. Like, I just wouldn't do them. I didn't think that they – and so now whenever I see him, I'm like, do you remember me? He's like, yeah, you're the person that got me to do my very first and only push-up. He was struggling. He was struggling. I'm here with Mark Jackson, who says he's barely done a push-up in his entire life. I've done about 100 today because I had some angels.
I can't talk. Okay.
He had to quit early, Mark Jackson. So the Kings then just skeet skirt swerved out of the Mark Jackson lane and dove right into Mike Brown to the tune of a 4-year contract and a mandate to make the playoffs. I'm talking about an hour after that news was leaked. Diving in, 4 years to Mike Brown, huh? 4-year contract for Mike Brown, former Cleveland Cavaliers head coach with LeBron James, current Golden State Warriors assistant. Bold strategy from the Sacramento Kings. For those who don't know, Brown spent 8 years as a head coach, including 2 stints in Cleveland, 1 as a Lakers head coach. We know how well the Lakers' last coach worked out in Sacramento. I think he's still on payroll, actually, right now. His best year, Mike Brown's, was 2006-2007, when he made the finals with Braun, got swept by Tim Duncan and the Spurs. Braun was only 22 at the time. And last time he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, kind of having a young team like the Kings, actually, he went 33-49 with a second-year Kyrie Irving and Anthony Bennett, number 1 overall pick, probably one of the biggest busts in NBA history. So I'm not really sure what this Mike Brown situation is going to be like. I'm guessing not great, but I'm very curious. How are you going to keep Dante DiVincenzo happy? Because he's apparently not happy. How are you going to convince Mike Brown's thing is defense? How do you get Domantas Sabonis to play defense, let alone De'Aaron Fox to play defense? How do you find the way to make this offense consistent instead of insanely streaky? I don't know. This man, Mike Brown, which is absolutely insane to me, is mandating. He's already told the world, I am mandating we will go to the playoffs next year. Next year, playoffs? Talk about setting yourself up to get fired right away. Like, this team doesn't even seem capable of making the play-in, let alone making the playoffs. At this moment, like, the West is very competitive. Who, mind you, will be beating the Kings? Who will the Kings beat out? The Pelicans? Don't think so. The Spurs? Don't think so. The Wolves? They're getting better. Don't think so. The Nuggets with Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray coming back? Bubble Murray? No. The Blazers? Even the Blazers, who were committed to losing. It was a full-on, fledged tank. They only lost 3 more games than the Kings. And they had their starters out. They had their reserves out. They sat their third-string guys out. They had Drew Eubanks, multiple 10-day contract guy, out there getting double-doubles. And that was it. They were tanking on purpose, and they still were pretty much the same as the Kings. So tell me, Mike Brown, how in the hell are you going to make the playoffs? Interesting stuff from Sacramento. We'll be keeping our eyes open on this. Very sad, though, about Mark Jackson. I almost feel a little guilty I leaked that push-up news. I hope in all truth that didn't sway anything at all, because that would be a fucking shame.